college baseball, super regionals coming up. And so I kind of want to go just quickly here around every single super regional who we think's going to win. So starting with the first one here, number 1 team in the country, Tennessee taking on Notre Dame. I think we're all in agreement Tennessee will take this super region. Oh, are you picking Notre Dame?
I'm 100% serious.
It's like did we watch the same regional with Tennessee? They kind of struggled with some teams.
I agree that Tennessee struggled, but at the same time,
and also Notre Dame's playing really good.
They are playing really good, but I feel like Tennessee's going to find that championship level gear. They're going to blow it in Omaha. That's my prediction. They're going to lose in Omaha, but I think they'll find a way to get there at least.
Notre Dame's a very, 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 very good team that continues to be undervalued.
That is true.
I think they're the storied team right now from partially being undervalued like that, where they could have hosted a regional.
Yeah.
And they're going to continue to pour that on into the locker room. And I think they're going to come out. I think they're going to come out hot in this one. I think obviously Tennessee can win. I mean, they're one seed, but I think this will go to 3 games. I do think that.
Yeah.
I just think I think Notre Dame finds a way to get the upset, and I wouldn't be surprised if they go close, if not to the championship. In all seriousness.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of in similar agreement with Andrew. Just Tennessee. I know way they played the entire regular season. They played like the absolute best team, but once they hit their own regional, they kind of faltered where they probably shouldn't have. Like all the teams they had in their region, they should have blown out. Instead, they struggled a little bit and they faltered in certain aspects. So, and the way Notre Dame has overall played, they're easily the bet. They're easily could give Tennessee a run for their money, and I think they actually knocked Tennessee out.
Okay.
In the necessary.
So I am by myself here thinking Tennessee. Okay, never mind. But Stanford and UConn.
That's what you get for assuming.
Well, guess what? I'm going to keep doing it anyway. Stanford and UConn playing in the Stanford Super Regional there. Who do we have in this one? I'm not going to say I guess we're all picking Stanford because, you two might choose UConn on me.
Well, the big case for that because Stanford had to go to a necessary game with Texas State.
Yeah.
Because Texas State almost beat them.
But Texas
they're not
State,
bad though. Texas State's
like
pretty
a
good.
top 15 team.
Texas State's pretty good. They're
What I'm
right.
saying is but UConn's also been playing really good right now. While I say the matchup probably favors Stanford, I'm saying is that you don't be surprised if UConn gives Stanford a run for their money. But at the end of the day, I think it goes to a necessary game and Stanford wins.
Yeah, I mean UConn surprised me. I mean I didn't realize they played some good baseball this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shame. I will say it is a shame what happened to Maryland. That was a tough play there at first. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah.
That did change the game a little bit, but I'll keep it short. I'll go Stanford.
Alrighty. So we're all in agreement on Stanford there. Switching on down, closing it out here, I guess 8-9, East Carolina and Texas in Greenville. ECU, they're trying to break the gates. They're trying to get to Omaha, but Texas standing in the way. This is usually where Texas thrives. This is one of the fewer upsets I have. I do have Texas upsetting ECU here. I think the Horns are starting to figure out where they want to be now. They're able to see it a little bit in the Big 12 tournament. They started to improve. They played really well in their regional. They blew out the teams they were supposed to blow out. So I think they take it in 3 over ECU.
Yeah, I'm in agreement there. I think Texas is right now playing their best baseball, and ECU, while they had their run-in with the Chanticleers, I think ECU eventually pull out. This will go to a necessary game. East Central might pull one out, but I think Texas overall wins.
Give me the Pirates.
All right.
They surprised me. Again, they play very good baseball this weekend too. And the way they crushed Coastal Carolina to close out that regional was that was some of the best baseball you could watch there. And I like the Pirates here. And listen, I'm gonna jump the gun here to the next one. But
yeah, so go ahead, talk about North Carolina Archie.
Before I was gonna really talk, I just think these regionals are very good. I think all of them are honestly gonna go to the if necessary. Like, because it's best 2 out of 3. I think a lot of them I think all of them, all 4 of them are gonna go to that game.
Alrighty. So who do you have in North Carolina, Arkansas? Let's just keep it rolling here.
This is tough because I mean I'm gonna pick Arkansas. I mean the way they were able to crack down, they got behind in one of their games and they came back and won, obviously against OSU. They were able to. And they were able to match it with pitching when it came down to it. They were able to lock down the door. The bullpen's pretty good there. You saw them get out of jams in that final game against OSU. And then when the bats wanted to hit the ball, they were able to get hit the ball. So I think Arkansas is a very well-balanced team. I'll take Arkansas.
I will say a little too much praise to their bullpen, even though, you had a couple of pitchers from them that were able to get out of tricky situations, especially in that final game. But Arkansas's pitching was not very good. I mean, everyone's pitching in that Stillwater Regional wasn't very good.
Well, I don't know how much of that's the pitching and how much there's just too much firepower in that region.
Well, I didn't say it was good. I said
that it's like as a former pitcher, the pitching wasn't very good. Overall. Like overall, I'm not saying all of it was terrible. You had some really good pitching from select individuals, but overall, like each team didn't have the best pitching staffs that went out there and should have played. OSU's pitching staff overall, with the players they've gotten, should have been playing. Like should have been even throughout a whole year where they faltered. They should have been. Their arms should have been there when it counted, but instead it didn't happen. Arkansas almost had the same thing happen to them, but Arkansas's bats are gonna pretty much take North Carolina out, probably going maybe into an unnecessary game. But it was basically between Oklahoma State and Arkansas, whoever was gonna get out of the Stillwater Regional I was gonna pick to beat whoever was out of Chapel Hill.
Yeah,
so
I will say I disagree on the sense of, I mean, obviously that game against Oklahoma State, but they held OSU to 3 runs the final game, and they held Grand Canyon, a good Grand Canyon team, that won. So
I just mean like overall, I was not saying that final game, the pitching for Arkansas was much better. Like they overall played way better, but I'm talking about like just the entire thing as a whole. They weren't very good.
I never came out and said, I mean, they threw great. All I said was they were able to get out of jams. They had guys that stepped up, and I think that's where they're well balanced. And I mean, if you look at a lot of their ERAs that came in, a lot of those relievers were under 3 ERAs.
Yeah, I think Arkansas takes this one. I've got the Hogs because, like you said, they're a well balanced team, but when they get crazy dangerous, I mean, almost whoever came out of that Stillwater Regional was going to be crazy dangerous, but when they play like that, when they play like the team we expect them to be, Arkansas is a legitimate threat. I expect a lot of fireworks in Chapel Hill. North Carolina, they can pour it on people, too. They did it to VCU. We might see another one of those 15-14 types of games you never thought you'd see.
We're all in agreement that Arkansas takes it.
Yeah, we all got Arkansas as the upset there. Moving it down to College Station, Texas A&M and Louisville, 5 versus 12. Should be an interesting one there, but I've got Texas A&M taking it. I think Louisville will give them a challenge, but I've got the Aggies.
Yeah, I agree. I think Aggies overall played didn't lose a game in their region.
Yeah,
and
TCU gave them some trouble in that final game.
Yeah, in that final game they did.
When you score 15 runs, it's not going to be much of a problem.
Yeah, but I think the bats will come through for A&M, and I think their pitching will be able to do enough to hold Louisville off. As good as Louisville has played for the most part this year, I know they had to overcome some. Basically slapped Michigan, then played a close one with them and get out of it. But in the end of the day, I think A&M is just a much better team than Louisville, but who knows what will happen. I have A&M winning 2 straight.
This is tough. I'm really tempted to pick Louisville. The fight they had in that regional, I'm like, it's so tough to count them out, but obviously being a top 5 team, it's tough to count A&M out. I'm definitely going 3 games here.
Yeah,
I'm leaning Cardinals. I'm gonna go with it. I'm leaning Cardinals.
Call your shot.
All right.
And then this is going to be a fun one. Hattiesburg Super Regional, Southern Miss, Ole Miss. Someone from that state's going to Omaha. It's just going to be who is it? I think LSU kind of proved a point here in that Southern Miss can be beaten at home. And I think Ole Miss takes full advantage of it. I've got the Rebels in an upset. The way they played in Coral Gables looked amazing. This might be one of those crazy super regionals you get every once in a while, kind of like I think Chapel Hill will go. I think these are 2 amazing teams, and I think Ole Miss is slightly better. It's not going to feel like too much of a home field disadvantage either. You have a lot of Ole Miss fans travel.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go Ole Miss here. I mean, the way they were able to get through this region, I still can't believe Miami didn't advance in that region. But yeah,
to see it.
I don't mind Miami when it comes to baseball, but I'm going to Ole Miss as well.
This man just doesn't like Miami in general.
No, all sports. It goes to every sport.
That's funny.
I'm going to be the odd man out, and I'm going to have Southern Miss get one over them in a necessary game. Southern Miss had to overcome LSU. Pretty much, I think, is enough to get Southern Miss over the thing. As great as Ole Miss played in that Coral Gables region, I think Southern Miss will get one over on Ole Miss, even though I could probably say Ole Miss is the way both teams are coming out of it. Ole Miss looks like the better team because they didn't lose a game, but don't count Southern Miss out, especially they had a really tough region to go through.
Yep, and then the final two super regionals here, starting with Corvallis, Oregon State, and Auburn. Auburn's offense has been absolutely clicking.
This man goes left to right for every single one of them.
Yes, I snake it around is what I do, the weirdest way possible. Oregon State, Auburn, 3 versus 14. Auburn's offense has been truly amazing to watch. Oregon State struggled a little bit against New Mexico State, a bit more than anyone ever thought they would. Played well, started to look like they're going to rebound, got just destroyed by Vandy, but responded the best way you can, getting that win to go on. I think it's going to be tight. It's going to be a 3-game series, but I think Oregon State finds their way. They're going to will their way to Omaha in this one.
I think for this one, I'm going to pick Auburn for upset. Oregon State is vulnerable right now. I understand Vanderbilt was a bit underappreciated in some aspect. Obviously, they weren't going to get enough to be a region. I know they were number 2, but people kind of forgot about Vandy. It's not like, and then obviously Vandy taking them to the necessary game. But Auburn's going to, the way Auburn has played overall, especially they cakewalked their felt like they cakewalked their entire region. And I think Auburn's offense is going to be a detriment to Oregon State, and I think Auburn will get the win in the necessary game.
I'm going to take Oregon State. I picked against them the first round, the Vanderbilt. I thought Vandy was going to get out there. I'm not gonna doubt the Beavers this time. So give me Oregon State.
And then the final super regional, good old Blacksburg, Virginia Tech and Oklahoma. Hokies, Okies, going to be a fun time there. Should be a lot of fun baseball. I'm really excited to see how OU plays in this. You know, they stepped up on the big stage. They won in Gainesville. I think OU's run comes to an end, though. Virginia Tech is just – I became the world's biggest Columbia fan for about 3 days, praying that they could somehow pull an upset to get a Norman Super. I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I tried to will that into existence. They took Gonzaga out, though, which was nice. But I think Virginia Tech will take it in 3 games. As much as I want to see Oklahoma win and prevail, I don't think it's going to happen. Hokies are just overpowering. There's a reason they're a top 4 team.
I'm not going to do a necessary game with this one. I think Hokies take it in two games. As good as OU can play, I think Virginia Tech's just going to be too much. Especially, Virginia Tech has they didn't lose a game in their region, and they pretty much beat up everybody. And OU, got out of Gainesville with a solid necessary game win. I think Hokies just are going to beat them up.
Yeah, they might make it a shootout. Virginia Tech did give up 9 runs to Wright State. They gave up a little bit to Columbia. They might be able to get some runs on the board. It might be a 10-7 game or something like that. You might get a crazy football score.
Yeah, I'm honestly really tempted to pick Oklahoma. It's tough to pick against a team as hot as Oklahoma is. They're one of the hottest teams in the country right now. They proved it going through the Big 12 pretty quick there and winning that one. And then now you survive that region with a very good Florida team, a solid Liberty team, and not a bad Central Michigan team. I think definitely good. I think it was 3 games. I don't see Virginia Tech beating a team like Oklahoma twice that quick. As you mentioned, their pitching struggles against Wright State. And I'm tempted to do it, but there's 2 things that's going to get in the way. That number 4 ranking, and I picked the upset last time at Louisville, so I'm going to go lean towards the edge here of what should be the quote-unquote chalk. And then I guess a little bit of the OSU fan in me is going to go to the Virginia Tech here. Now I'm very tempted to pick Oklahoma, though. I really think they're going to give Virginia Tech a run for their money. And it would not surprise me to see the Sooners move on to Omaha.
I really want to see it happen just because it's been so long since OU's been there. I want to see it happen. That will be all for tonight's show. We thank you for tuning in. We've been all around America. It has been a fun time, as always. For Andrew Santangelo, Connor Gray, I'm Cade Kennedy. If you liked what you heard this evening, be sure to give us a follow here on Twitch. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, whether it be NWTV7 or The Guys Who Stare at Stats. Give us a follow on Facebook, Twitter, or even Instagram or TikTok under NWTV7. And until next time, have a great one, everybody.